Welcome to episode 142 of the Fully In It podcast. Today, I have a very special guest joining me, Raeanne Lacatena. And Raeanne helps experienced entrepreneurs and small business owners reach their greatest expectations while living their happiest, healthiest, and wealthiest lives. Among the business owners she serves are restaurant owners, brick and mortar offices like those of physicians and therapists, and online businesses for authors, artists, speakers, and coaches. Raeanne is a holistic certified professional business coach, a licensed registered mental health practitioner, and a Reiki master with 2 decades of experience in the business coaching and professional development fields. Raeanne is also a mama of 3 kiddos under the age of 6 who help her to understand and live the principles she teaches more deeply every day. And on a more personal note, I met Raeanne a few years ago in a business mastermind, and then I was honored to have her join me in my mastermind for 2 consecutive rounds as we focused on her balance of motherhood and business. Then a year ago, I actually got to meet her in person at my Beyond Enough retreat. And this is just, it's a rare thing. Sometimes I get to meet clients in person and it just means everything to me. And Raeanne is truly the real deal. You are going to take away so many gems from this interview. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Welcome to Fully In It, a show for moms who are called to grow themselves while growing their families. Join me, Kate Saffel, a life and a business coach for moms, a homeschooling mama of 3, and a woman on a quest to show that our lives become even more meaningful when we remember why we are here and what truly matters most. This show is about going fully in it for you and the people you love by showing up powerfully in motherhood, entrepreneurship, in your home life, and for your family vision. Join me for weekly episodes that will inspire you to live intentionally and by your values, to slow down and truly be present to your family life, to make decisions that grow a profitable business without sacrificing anything in the process, and to become the kind of mom and woman you know you're meant to be in this lifetime. So today on the podcast, I have Raeanne joining me. And Raeanne, I am so incredibly thrilled that you are coming on the podcast, that we get to hear more of your journey, because I know that the impact that you have had in the world is not only going to continue to grow, but it's also going to serve so many people. And I cannot wait for the listeners of this show to just get to know you better. So for those who they don't know you yet, but they're going to get to know you so well by the end of this episode, would you be willing to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about you?
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Kate. Hello, everyone listening. My name is Raeanne Lacatena. I am a holistic business coach. I'm a mother of 3. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And I started my career in mental health. I'm also a Reiki master and a certified professional coach. And the work that I do with my clients, the impact that I create with my clients, is that I really believe that there is an internal and an external side of business. And that when we're able to really balance the 2 worlds, the masculine side of business, the tactics, the strategies, the numbers, the currency, even in combination with starting with the internal work that's necessary, then we really have a happy, healthy expression of business and life. And so I use all those tools and tricks that I learned as a therapist and as a Reiki master to help my clients both externally and internally grow their business and have the happiest, healthiest experience.
Oh, that sounds so incredible. And I love how you balance both the internal and the external. So I'm so curious to hear, Raeanne, that you started as a therapist. How did you bridge that gap into business coaching? Because that's really fascinating how you made that leap.
Yeah, I started my career, even just to take a little bit deeper into a peek into what I did when I started my career. I was in pediatric palliative care. And so one of the first things that I did in my career was work with children and their families who had life-threatening illnesses, whether it were a serious, debilitating cancer or heart disorder or something that was potentially life limiting. And I'm so grateful every single day for the work that I was able to do with those families and for what they taught me and for what they showed me. I got a crash course in life by doing that work. I learned about death, dying, grief. I learned about religion, money, politics. I learned about collaboration, coordination. I learned about the fragility of life, the urgency of life. I learned the big why God questions, the what does it all mean kind of questions. And I learned a lot about myself in the process. I learned that I'm an empath, which I didn't know at the time what it meant to be an empath, but I just knew that I was feeling everything. And I was looking around at everyone who was around that table serving all of those wonderful families. And I could feel that I was impacted differently by the experience of witnessing the experience that they had to go through. And it was very hard on me to be an empath and to be in that kind of role. And so I learned how to manage my empathic nature. And basically, to answer your question, everything that I just listed that I learned in pediatric palliative care now informs what I teach my business owners, because I'm a holistic business coach. And so I don't believe that business is a separate entity. I believe that who we are anywhere is who we are everywhere. And so all of the things that are happening in our life impact our business. All of the things that we are successful at in life can be applied to success in our business and vice versa. And so it's really about integrating who we are as a human being into our experience. I also learned in that process that not only am I an empath, but I'm very good at seeing how to get things done and to do so efficiently and effectively. And so I was able to take the marrying of that internal, external, feminine, masculine, and apply that to business owners as well. So
Mm,
basically, everything I learned in that process informs
yeah.
what I do every single day.
Yeah, wow. It is so incredible how on the human journey, we pick up all of these experiences and these skills along the way that inform the path that we take. We don't always know what that end destination is, but it sounds like in your case, it all aligns so perfectly for you to do the work that you do today.
Yeah, I didn't know at the time for sure. I even, in my training as a mental health therapist, I picked a track in my training that was called the Advanced Generalist Practice and Programming, which is a combination of counseling in traditional counseling with people, but then also building programs. And I didn't know at the time that was actually business school. Basically, it was just from a nonprofit standpoint. And so I've been choosing this blended path, the growth and development, the tactics, the strategies, how to do things in combination with the internal energy, thought management, emotion management work for my entire life. And it's just kind of culminated now into work that I do with the clients that I serve.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it like for you to take those first business coaching clients and make that transition?
I'll tell you, when my mentor who brought me into the business told me that I was going to be great at sales, I was like, no, I do not sell. I do not sell. That is not something that I do. I am a counselor. I'm a helper. I help people. But I was lucky enough. I know that this isn't the case for everybody, but I was lucky enough when he told me something. He said, sales is just the entry point to service. And for me, that was like, oh, okay, then I guess I'm a salesperson. That if we need to bring people in to serve them, and it just happens to be an exchange of currency, because everything is energy and currency is energy, and that's an exchange. I was able to clean up the drama around sales very quickly and help other people do the same since then. I did, there's obviously trials and tribulations the entire journey. I spent a lot of years unlearning some counseling habits that really needed to be replaced for coaching habits, but then also replacing employee-minded ways of being for entrepreneurial ways of being. And so I kind of did a stair step, which is kind of who I am as a human being. I take one step at a time. I mastered sales and service to other people as an employee. And then when I finally understood that I had the skills to be able to be an entrepreneur, I stepped into becoming a business owner coach as well.
Wow. Wow, that's so impressive. Yes. And I understand that as well with the sales piece of so many people when they come into these industries, they really struggle with like, I don't want to sell to people. I don't like how that feels. But that is such a powerful reframe
Mhm.
for seeing sales really as service because you can't help anyone if you don't move beyond that initial conversation.
Mhm. Yeah, it's one that you have to clean up if you're going to be a business owner.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Ran, you're also a mom
Hmm.
of three kiddos. What has it been like for you, being on this business journey while
Hmm.
you've also been raising them?
Yeah. Yeah. It's been incredible. They are intersected into every single fabric of every single day. They are my why. They are, I say that my mission, I say that, my mission is to help people become the greatest expression of who they choose to be. And that starts at home. They're my little spiritual teachers. They teach me so much every single day. They teach me about power and control. They teach me about the beauty of learning. They use the beginner's mind every day. And so they really help me stay connected to the core essence of my higher self and my mission. And they help me to remember that the world needs to be a better place for them every single day. And
Mm.
so yeah, they are the greatest joys of my life, and it doesn't make it easy always, for sure. That's one of the main reasons that you came into my life, is that I remember I was stepping into my third pregnancy. Now, the first pregnancy that I had as a business owner, because my first two babies were born when I was an employee as a coach. And I came to you entering into my first maternity leave as a business owner. And
Mm.
knowing that, so much was on the line as the primary breadwinner, and, having built this thing and wanting it to last. And then also knowing that the stakes were about to change from man-to-man coverage to zone coverage at home, where you have more babies than you have hands. And,
Yes.
knowing that you knew what it was like to have three kiddos. And I just knew that you were my teacher in that moment, to help me to understand what I needed to do differently to be a business owner, mother, and to be a present mother first, and to renegotiate my boundaries, because even though they're my absolute joys and they're the center of my mission and my work, it is also challenging to
Mm.
have all the plates spinning as a mom business owner.
Well, isn't that the truth? Right. And so we women who are mothers and we are business owners, we are holding at such a higher capacity than I would wager most people do, because you are spinning those plates at home. But especially in your case, Rand, because I have had the privilege to witness you and your business and see you in the work that you do. You lead at such a high level. And it truly was an honor to witness you in that season, right? When you were pregnant with your third and you were really renegotiating, what do I want my business to actually look like? Because at the time, you were very full. Like your practice was a bit full. I don't know if you want to go a little bit into that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been in personal development now for 20 years, and I maintained a counseling practice for 17 of those. And I served at the time, I think with you, I had about 45 clients, business owner clients. And I was just closing up my counseling practice in the effort of, moving in better boundaries and learning how to raise my rates, because I really needed to be focusing on my attention and time. As a mom, our time becomes our greatest asset. Our presence becomes our greatest asset. And so, yes, I've definitely built a successful business from the currency standpoint, and I insist on having a successful business in presence as well, and
Mm.
time as well, and making sure that it's rich in those experiences with my family as well. Um, and so, yeah, there was a lot of presses on the time, but because I understand this fact that because I am successful as a present parent and as a business owner, that those skills are transferable, that I can borrow some of the things that I do really well and apply it to parenting. And I can borrow some of the things that I do well in parenting and apply it to business. And so you help me draw it out of me. Okay. So what would you tell a different coaching client, and how can you, own your new set of boundaries now? And what does that look like for the service and the impact that you want to create at home and in business? And how do you get in better alignment with those two worlds?
Yes, yes. I remember it very clearly. And that work that we did was so pivotal, because I think for any mom, and really, let me know your thoughts on this, but I feel like for women in general, we tend to potentially struggle with boundaries, with our yeses and our nos, with wanting to help more people. And it really can stretch you beyond your available capacity. And so it was really neat to see the way that you renegotiated with your boundaries, with what you wanted home life to look like, how you wanted to lead your business going forward, claiming still that income that you had created, but also how can we do this with taking on maybe less clients, with having a little bit more white space and some breathing room,
Mhm.
especially going into your maternity leave,
Yes.
which I feel like that was the true test, wasn't it?
Yes.
Like to see
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
is this going to work? And so what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I definitely see that in women, especially, being having to adjust what they're working on and feel like they have to a lot of people to please, especially high achieving women. They feel pulled in a million directions. And that idea of boundaries is fluid. It's not stagnant. Like every baby you add, you need to have new boundaries. And every business season changes what you need. And so there has to be a fluidity, even in your boundaries, which feels a little strange to say, but it's not metal scaffolding that stays one particular way for the entirety of your life. That as your responsibilities extend, your business extends, you really need to shift and change accordingly. And that's what happened when I introduced baby number 3, my little baby girl. I worked really hard to figure out what is it. First, it was internal, right? It was belief that my business wasn't going to fail or falter as a result of me stepping away, and really practicing, even while I was pregnant, getting comfortable with the idea of more rest as a mama growing a human, but then also believing that that rest can actually produce, that rest is productive. And that I remember the $10,000 nap. We have this this
I knew
inside
it.
joke that I took I took a nap one day when I was feeling really stressed out and decided, what, I need to lean into learning how to rest, and woke up to $10,000 I wasn't expecting in the bank, and really letting that sink in. Like, you can create passive income.
Mhm.
You can create rest that is productive, which was not something that I had given myself the grace to do very often. I have a very strong, to a fault work ethic. I love my work. And so sometimes I let the boundary pull myself into that workspace, but that's not the kind of mom that I wanted to be. I wanted to also be present to them. And it looks different for every single mom. But for me, I needed to learn how to slow down to speed up, which was something
Mhm.
that you taught me so beautifully. And then when she came, the baby came, I had practiced that enough. I had practiced that, creating spaciousness, trusting myself and my business, trusting my skills as a mom, that I could step away and joyfully experience my maternity leave and the plan that I had created. And also, to give my clients props too. Like, I really focused on bringing people into my life that love me for me as a human. And so being a mom is not a problem for my clients. It's an asset for my clients. Many of them are actually parents. And so them seeing me set boundaries, them seeing me taking time to rest, them seeing me be successful as a mom, supports them in doing the same in their households as well. And so it became almost like an integrity piece, like a responsibility that I had in order to lead my clients in leading the lives that they choose, these high achievers, working parents that want it all. And so I was able to do that in a way so deeply. You had recommended a meditation program for me. I took an entire
Mhm.
meditation certification. I healed a major health issue that I had, and really committed to taking care of my body after the postpartum period. I had some real serious health issues that I was able to completely control and clear up just by being present and peaceful and calm and attentive to my nutrition, my wellness. And so you really helped me with all the different categories. And I came back energized and still equally in love with the work that I do. And the clients stuck around and then some. And so it really helped to solidify this fact that, rest is productive, that you get to be a whole person and it doesn't need to be a separate entity.
Mhm.
And that good things come when you find the harmony that works for you.
Mhm. Oh my goodness. Yes. Well, it's really such a testament to the work you do with your clients, because you are helping them navigate both that internal and the external worlds. You so beautifully modeled that for them by being willing to go inward and do that work and heal yourself and reclaim these parts of yourself as a mother and really say, hey, this is what I value. This is what matters most to me. And come along with me,
Mhm.
right? Because I feel like in life, we are both students and we are teachers. And so in that case, you were being the teacher, for your clients. You were showing them, hey, it is possible to have it all and to be very clear about that. But at the same time, you were being a student and you were being a student to learning, like, how can I heal these parts of me that need healing, but also be present to this world that I am co-creating with my family and with my business. And so that was just a really cool thing to witness
Mhm.
within you. I was definitely in awe of you because, as coaches, and I know you know this, right? Like, we make suggestions, we offer feedback and redirection and new ways of looking at things. But ultimately, it is up to the client or the student to really take that and integrate it. And that was definitely something that I witnessed within you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, the coach is only as good as the student.
It's
And
very true.
them being willing to do the work and commit to their own self-development is 100% in their control. And so you can only control your side of the coin and really focus on stepping into that leadership and that integrity of the way that you're living to show them that it works. And so it was really important to me. And I have no problem with like the hard work aspect of it, obviously. But to be able to see it come to fruition, like, yes, there was some very difficult moments and there were tears at times and there and it is challenging to spin all the plates. It would be ridiculous to not think that that is the case. It's not always sunshine and puppies and kittens to do all the things that we are doing. Sometimes there are hard days. And so even, another thing that I continue to work on, even by virtue of being here with you today is to be able to be vulnerable as a human being and share some of those parts of you as a human being so that your people know, like, yes, you are a subject of the work, you are a product of the work, and sometimes the work is hard. And
Hmm.
sometimes it is not a straight line. And, that you seeing each other in authentic truth, in authentic, uh, apparent who you are as a human being helps you to connect even deeper, which is something that I continue to lean into and learn.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that as well. And I think that for a while there, and I don't know if you witnessed this as well, but there was definitely a narrative in the professional or the business world around, like, don't show your vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
You need to only show this external version of you as being a leader, as having it together, of not having any problems. But like you just mentioned, there is so much strength that comes from sharing the journey that we're going through because we're modeling it at the same time for our people.
Mhm. Yeah, well, it was especially challenging for me as a mental health therapist first. We're taught to check yourself at the door. Like, you are not a
Hmm.
part, that is your client's process. There's HIPAA, right? Like, just everything has to be completely separate and buttoned up. And I leaned into that. It felt that I let that be an armor for me as an introvert and as a naturally private person. I preferred to keep myself separate and to keep myself unseen with my clients. That was my mode of being. But when I got into coaching, I started to notice that people were like actually asking me, Raeanne, I want to know you. Who are you as a human being? Yeah, I know these coaching calls are meant to be about me, says Mr. Client. But I also want to know who you are as a human being. And it would help me as a human being to authentically know you. And so I've had to take down that coat of armor and relearn a lot of, that's one of those things I had to relearn as a mental health therapist versus a coach, is that you can partner in humanness with the people that you're serving a little bit more than you can as a counselor.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like this message is just so important for those listeners who are coming from those professions and maybe switching into a new industry where they are trying to shed those layers of identity and adopt new
Mhm.
ones. It's not always easy to shift, but as you have experienced yourself, your clients really do want to know you because they want to know, who is this person that is mentoring me? Where do they come from? What are they about? What do they believe? And so it does add that authenticity to the journey when we're open to that possibility.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about some of the female conditioning that happens as moms. Another one that happens not just in vulnerability, but also just in celebrating the successes that we have. We're not taught to be comfortable to share what is going well in our life. And so this is another piece that is often uncomfortable for a lot of people who are moving into a different profession, and just women in general, to learn how to speak highly of yourself, to learn how to share some of the things that are going well in your career. This is sometimes even frowned upon by people or judged by people, but it has to change. If you're
Mm.
going to step into the highest pinnacle of transcendence, you have to be able to own your power. And that's not an easy thing to do in the
Mm.
social conditioning that women get.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm so curious. In what ways are you currently allowing yourself to be seen and stepping into that power in your own life and business right now?
One of the major transformational experiences that I put myself through, and I say it intentionally like that because I had no idea what I was getting myself into when I signed up for this, was writing a book. I started writing almost a year ago, a full length book, and I have been told for my whole life, Raeanne, you need to write a book. Like, people have said things like this to me, but I was like, okay, that's nice. I'm not someone who writes books. It's not something that I do. And then the messages got louder and louder and louder. And finally, I just decided to listen and to dive in. And that experience of writing my story on page and getting some of those thoughts inside of my head and putting it on paper and having other people read it and being willing to share some of the hard parts of my life, and know that there will be people around the world hopefully reading my story. It's a challenging one for the vulnerability, but it's also incredibly transformational. It's healing in the process of going through that. And now that the book is nearly done, going on a speaking tour and being on stages in ways that I never really planned on doing is a new test to that vulnerability and that transparency, and just even the openness to be seen is something that has really opened up a next level for me, which is my next work.
Yes, yes. Well, you have come a long way from Rayanne with the armor up,
Yeah.
right? Like, you are really letting yourself be seen on an international stage in new ways that are going to stretch and grow you. I cannot wait to just see this happen for you. And I would love just to hear a little bit, like, what is the book about? Like, tell us more.
Yeah, well, there's actually two of them. There's
Yes, I thought so.
It's yeah, it's because I don't do anything small, apparently.
Yeah.
I did, the first piece is a co-authored book that was endorsed by Tony Robbins, and that's already out. It
Mm.
was out in January of 2024, and that is I've created a framework to help my clients, and I talk through that framework and share a story of one of the clients that I work with who was so brave to share her experience that she had as a business owner. And so that chapter helps people to understand how to overcome obstacles in business, like treating your thoughts as neutral and engaging in your emotions differently, and learning how to use energetic and emotional behavioral principles to help you move through whatever situation you're in at the current circumstance. So that's available. But then the full length book that I wrote, the working title is The Integrated Entrepreneur: How to
Ooh.
Actualize Your Potential and Fulfill Your Purpose by Growing Your Business. And
Mm.
so I walk the readers up Maslow's hierarchy of need and what it feels like to be in survival mode or scarcity running your business versus being in the highest pinnacle of self-transcendence and every step along the way. But also teach about the masculine and feminine blend in the book. I share, again, case studies from my clients. I am the primary case study, so I share some very personal stories of my own and some professional stories as well, as a way to illustrate some principles to help people learn how to integrate who they are as a human being and a business owner.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Chills. I mean, that so epitomizes you. I cannot wait to read it.
I
It
know.
is going to be, I'm sure you feel the same way, right? You're like, I
Oh,
cannot wait to have this in my
yeah,
hands.
it's exciting. It is exciting. I have a box of books out in the kitchen right now. I'm going to do a little reveal with my husband and see what that looks like. It's all happening. It's unfolding right now. It's so cool.
Oh my goodness. Well, congratulations. And we
Thank
will
you.
definitely like put all of this info in the show notes. So if you're listening and you're like, oh, I've got to get my hands on these books, right? You will know how to find Raeanne after this episode and dig into her work because what you do in the world really is so powerful and it's so needed.
Thank you so much, Kate. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
You're welcome. Okay, so I have a very just practical question for you
Sure.
because I feel like, I mean, quite honestly, I always want to know this, right? And I'm sure some of the listeners do as well, is like, what do your days typically look like? Because you're a coach, you're a mother, you are a writer. Like,
Mm,
how
yeah.
how do your days look?
Yeah. Every day is different, as you know, as a mom. Like you kind of have to do an assessment in the morning. Like which version of life am I getting right now? Is everyone healthy? Is everyone well? But on a typical day, I'm really blessed to have a very strong partnership at home. And so we're really great tag team and support each other in the process. So usually we have early risers in our house. So I'm not an entrepreneur who gets up and does cold plunges at 5:30, but I am an entrepreneur who gets up at 5:30 because everyone's up at 5:30 no matter how hard I try. And so my husband will usually take the first shift with the kiddos and get them settled and dressed and breakfast while I'm doing some prep work for my day, some intention setting, some yoga, getting myself ready, some meditation, whatever I need to be in my highest self, because he supports me in being able to do that. And so I calm my central nervous system. I get my body moving. I get prepared. He's off to work early. He's a teacher, and so he's out the door quite early. And then we switch, and then I'm the primary parent for a little while we get everybody in the right place. We have little ones at home, and so we have some care that supports them and some school. And while they're at school and in care, I usually start the day by doing some writing. I have gotten into that habit, which I never expected, but it's when I finished my first draft, I couldn't believe, but I asked my publishers, like, well, what now? I need my writing. This is a girl who would not like has a million empty journals in her house because I would never write. I just never was writing. And now it's something that is really it's created healing for me. It's created a vessel for me. And so I still am doing about an hour of writing every day. And then I move into client calls. I try to protect a day and a half where I have no meetings whatsoever and just work on the business. And then I have about 2.5 days where I have between 2 and 4 clients a day in coaching. And I'll mix in some podcasts or marketing opportunities, maybe some um, team calls. I have a team that supports me as well. So some business operations I'll mix in there, but I try to keep my like person to person meetings down to 4 or 5 meetings, which for me is a victory. I used to be running between 8 and 10 meetings a day, which was not healthy. So moving down to between 2 and 4 is a massive shift for me. I now have a mastermind and a small group, and so I'm learning how to bring people together in community, which helps me to serve more people in less time. Um, yeah, and then after the work day, back to get the kiddos, and we do lots of activities, lots of adventures, and enjoy each other's company. Dinner, the witching hour around 7 o'clock, and then off to bed. And usually all of us, I very much value sleep more and differently than I ever have since becoming a mom, and so I very much protect that as well.
Yeah, yes. I love your schedule for the day because it gives you that time in the morning to really pour into yourself and just ensure that you are showing up as your best self for the people you love, which is your clients and it's your family. And it gives you that capacity to show up at that level. So
Yeah.
I love that like all the little ways that you care for yourself during the day, you have the writing block. That's incredible that you do that. And then it gives you that that ability to look forward to the evening when, right, you all come back together as a
Yeah.
family and
Yeah.
you can kind of like hopefully turn off that business brain and
Mhm.
just be in mom mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And that really works for us. I know that different moms do things differently, but that really works well for us. And, the kids, they're supportive of the process too, and they're witnessing their mom live her purpose, and that's really important. And they see it. Like my little guy, he handed me a book the other day that said that it was the, what did he call it? The book with no pictures, because mom's writing a book with no pictures. So he handed me one. And so being able to model living your purpose to them is really important to me. And being
Yeah.
even those morning blocks. This morning, I was on the yoga mat and my 4-year-old stumbled in at 5:45 and he said, "Mama, you're really good at yoga." So seeing seeing me exercise, seeing those self-care rituals, that's really important for me to instill in them too. The world is challenging. And so teaching them coping mechanisms and teaching them how to insulate and take care of themselves, knowing that, that there's so much that they're going to be up against is really
Mhm.
important to me. So that
Mhm.
integrity at home, it really helps to fuel me as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, what are you looking forward to most for your family in the future? Do you have any vision that you are working on or moving toward?
Well, a big, huge, exciting win that we have coming up, that I know you and I spoke a lot about was we were going to be going back to Punta Cana, which is where we were married 10 years ago.
Yes.
And so we're taking the kiddos. We had this dream. We got married in the Dominican Republic, and we had this dream when we were on our honeymoon that we were going to bring our kids back to the resort 10 years in. And that's this year. So
What?
you're taking the kids
Oh
to
my goodness.
and traveling more and seeing more of the world and getting in sunshine and near the ocean is something that's really important. I really want them to have some earth school as opposed to just the traditional school and seeing more of the world. And so we got some really cool things going to, I'm not taking the kids on this one, but I'm going to Bali this year and yeah, doing
What?
some really amazing
Oh.
things and making sure that they're seeing as much as possible. So traveling adventures, being able to support my family and having the things that they want and seeing the things that they get to see because the world is such a big, beautiful place. That's really meaningful to me.
Yeah. Well, Rayanne, you really are a testament to being a mom who gets to have it all, right? Like you, I think if we have like a theme for this episode, I feel like that is really the message coming forward is that even though you have faced challenges,
Yes.
right? Like things have not always been easy for you and you've worked so incredibly hard to get here. At the end, you've never lost sight of your ability to be a woman who gets to have it all, to have the dreamy family life, to have the business that is having a huge impact, to express yourself through your written word. And, I'm just so grateful that you were here today, that you could share this message, right? And that people could get to know you. So, would you be willing to share like your website, like where can people find you? Give us all the details.
Yeah, I do feel compelled to share that, I do feel so grateful that this idea of being able to have it all, but I'm not special. And all of you, whoever's listening, can have it too. It's not something that just happened upon me. And it's not something that is exclusive to me, that everybody has this available to them. And there are different things that you can do to experience that as well. And so I just want to make that invitation to everyone and make sure that they know that this is something that is on the table for them too.
Yes, 100% agree.
Yeah, yeah. And if you are interested in learning more about me, my website is raeannelacatena.com, and I'm sure you don't know how to spell that. I'm sure Kate will put it in the show notes or
Yes,
wherever she lands it.
I
But yes,
will.
raeannelacatena.com. I am the only Raeanne Lacatena in the world, so you do your best and you'll be able to find me. I'm on Instagram. I'm heavily on LinkedIn. That's where a lot of my people live. And so if you are into the LinkedIn or you want to learn more about it, I'm over there too. But yes, Instagram, LinkedIn, and my website. If anyone's interested, the chapter that I wrote for Tony is for free on my website right now. So if you would like the ebook version of that, you can help yourself and keep to date on when the book is released in April.
Wow. That is an incredible gift. Yes, definitely. So we will put all of that information in the show notes at happierandmotherhood.com. If you're looking where to find all of Rayanne's info, it will definitely be there. But Rayanne, what a gift to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Kate. It's so good to see you every single time.
every time.